close your books, and in front of you somewhere, we have the PowerPoint here on the screen for you. So it's really just for you to kind of display this, to see this PowerPoint a little bit closer. However, it's also going to ask you sometimes to give your answers by pushing on a link, so I'll let you know when that happens. But the QR code there, so since theirs isn't set up, just if you could put the QR code on and then scan that little QR code right there. It's taped, so don't remove it. And then you guys also need those sheets. I want you to please have out in front of you this sheet. It says Our Challenge. Basically, here's what we're going to do today. We have been working on different things such as GPS and location, investigating locations. We've been doing geocaching. We have been doing transformations, okay? So now that we've done all this, we've learned a ton of stuff. It's time to come up with a project. And you guys are going to help me do that. But before we can just say, hey, this is what we want our project to be, we need to have some conversations, okay? So we're going to do a lot of discussing today. And by the end of the day, you guys are going to have given me a lot of ideas so that this weekend I can go home and I can use all of your ideas, put them together, and come up with one big challenge, which is going to be a project for you guys to complete next week. Sound good? So you get to have input in this. So before we do any of that, let's just kind of review what we've been talking about for a couple minutes. So basically, my hook for you guys to try to get you interested in the GPS and everything that we've been talking about was that X-Note activity. Remember that X-Note app I sent to you guys, and we did a virtual geocache? I had you guys go outside, and I had you go, you wouldn't be able to get the secret message until you were standing at that exact latitude and longitude. Okay, so that was one way to get you interested in GPS, and a way for me also to sneak transformations in there. So then after that, last week we did that indoor geocache activity. So my thought on that was if I could use a coordinate grid, because we kind of discussed how the world unwrapped and made as 2D is a coordinate grid. And we use latitude and longitude. We use latitude and longitude as kind of a simulation of something more techy like GPS and tracking. So that's how I kind of wanted to get you guys involved and get you excited about this project. Okay? So with anytime that I do one of these engineering design process units, we're always going to have a big idea, which is a theme. Okay? So you could probably sort of guess what the theme was going to be based on all the activities that we've done. And the big idea for you guys is tracking, locating, and investigating locations. So I want you guys to take a second, and on this little sheet here, this is going to be your notes for the day. I want you guys to write down the big idea is, and that's our theme, tracking, locating, and investigating locations. It's going to go right there. Were you done with this, Denu?
Yes.
Okay. What is a theme? When I say this is your theme, Dylan, what's a theme? The main idea, right? So the main idea of everything we've been doing for the past week and a half has had something to do with tracking. It's had something to do with locating and also investigating different locations. So that's why I made an overall theme. Here's my reason for picking this, okay? So we've been talking about a GPS, which is a global positioning system, and we've been talking about latitude and longitude. So it's kind of important because we can definitely use this in everything that we do in life from day to day. You don't even know that it's happening and you're using it a lot. But to be more specific, we use it when we track vehicles, right? We use it when we need directions. We use it when we are trying to use heavy equipment. We use it on our mobile phones every day with people and with animals. Animals. How do we use tracking location with animals. That's kind of a weird one that I put on there. Junior?
Well, there's a little chip in their collar that is making a signal to your electronic device, and it lets you know where it is if it's missing.
Right. That's very good. Did you guys know that sometimes that, like, my dog has a microchip in her little ear. It's actually inside her ear. And if I ever lose her, they can take her to the pound and they have a device that will say, hey, this belongs to Kelly Denu. She lives at this address. Call her up. Okay? Or most specifically, if you're talking about GPS, sometimes you can track animals and know where they are. If you're trying to look at maybe endangered wildlife or trying to figure out population or something like that. Okay? This system has a huge impact on our society. You know, we use it with safety, military, navigation. We use it with businesses, farming, structural improvements. Farming. How can we use GPS with farming or any kind of locations with farming? Any ideas? Farming. Israel? Put your hands down, okay? Thank you. What do you think?
Where your fields are and stuff, location.
Sure, maybe you want to know if you have crops or something like that. You have acres and acres and acres of land, correct? If you want to know where, you know, a particular plant or, you know, food group or something that you're growing, it might be nice to know there. There are other reasons too, right? Awesome. That's a good thought. But let's reflect again on how a GPS is kind of used. It's something called triangulation, okay? And yeah, you guys can follow along with me on the iPad screens. Okay, so triangulation. I know we sort of talked about this, but I wanted to give you a visual. So here we go. This is the world. And you see all these little guys out here? They're called satellites, okay? There are about 30 satellites orbiting the globe right now, okay? All you need is 3 of them to talk to each other, okay? So here's kind of like a little picture of just, you know, 3 of them enclosed. So what happens is this satellite talks to this satellite, talks to this satellite, and then down comes your message of what you're trying to find. Oh, so let me give you an example. Here's my cell phone right now, okay? I'm gonna do something right now. I think I'm just gonna go to Facebook, and I'm gonna do something you guys probably always do. I'm gonna check in. Where does it say that I am? Anybody ever check in on Facebook?
I press here.
Nobody ever checks in?
My mom does.
Maybe it's an older people thing, like my age thing. I'm not gonna call myself old, but like nobody in here checks in. So like whenever you're at a place and you want to let people know, like instead of posting a status, you check in and it lets people know where you're at. Like if you want to say, oh, I'm at the circus right now, I'm checking in at that circus. I'm at the Reds game, you check in down at the stadium. So right now I just hit check in and literally, what pops up right there? What do you see?
Goshen Middle School.
How did it know I was at Goshen Middle School?
You guys really don't check in.
Do you check in, Lori?
I don't, but all my friends do.
Yeah. You guys, what's the big thing that you guys do? You guys are Instagrammers. Do you tweet?
No.
Twitter? You don't do tweet or Twitter? What's the thing? Instagram's the thing now? And Twitter? So is there a way for you to check in on Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that? It's probably better because my husband, he won't let me check in when we're on vacation because he said then everybody will know that we're not home. So it could be a bad thing. But literally what's happening right now when I said check in, here's what happened to my phone. My phone was like, do-do-do-do. It's the phone's ringing. It's calling the satellites up here and it's saying, hey satellites, can you tell me where I'm at right now? So the satellites talk to each other and they say, yeah, you know, I think that she's here. And then they talk to this one and they talk to this one and they said, boom, 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 back down to Mrs. Denu's cell phone. You are at Goshen Middle School, okay? So that's how they talk. Okay, to be a little bit more technical and a little bit more math-ical, I guess you could say, basically what happens is your GPS receiver, how it knows where you're at, is when it talks to each other, it's basically sending signals to each other, And it's calculating the distance from one satellite to the other satellite. And distance can be measured in time. So it's saying like however long it takes for me to get your signal or your message, okay, that's how I can pinpoint where your location is. So the 3 satellites talk, and however long it takes for that next satellite to get the message, they say, this must be your distance. This is where you are located on this Earth. Very, very technical, but very cool, I think. Okay? Question?
When you check on Facebook and you're in Australia?
And you're in Australia?
Yeah.
It'll say you're in Australia. It literally will. It'll tell you exactly. Now, here's the cool thing was when I said check in, it didn't just say Goshen Middle School. It said Jim Brown Stadium. You know what? That's in the back. Okay? It's right there at the football field. It also said Spalding Elementary School. Now these places aren't exactly where I'm at right now, but it's kind of calculating other places that are around me. I wonder if like there's a restaurant on here. McDonald's, Goshen Fire Department. These things are just right up the road, but it's just saying, hey, you're near these places. I mean, I think that's just amazing that you can track where you are by these satellites that are not anywhere close to us. What's that?
Kind of creepy.
Or creepy, yeah. Or how could it be dangerous? Because it is a little bit. What do you think, Gavin?
Like people can like know where you're at, and
They can know where you're at.
they could come and like do something to you.
Like what if I say, oh, I'm all alone and I'm hanging out at the park right now, you know? I don't think that hopefully you're not friends with any people that are creepers, but you never know, you know? So it could be dangerous. Yeah. All right, bringing you guys back here. Focus. A variety of people use these GPS receivers on a daily basis. The military personnel, surveyors, boaters, pilots, hunters, hikers, lots of people. I know I just mentioned military. How does the military use GPS or something? Okay, when you say you know, just keep your hand raised and I'll call on people. I'm giving everyone a chance to answer, okay? So let's think about that question. The question was, how can the military utilize GPS or use GPS? Dalton, what do you think?
Find someone.
To find someone, right? If they're trying to, who would the military be looking for? Maybe someone that's wanted, or if an FBI type of case. Who else could they be looking for, Kayla? Someone they're fighting, right? If you're in the military, we're at war, people. If they're looking for somebody, maybe they don't want to know where the enemy troops are, right? Unknown territory. A lot of people are over there in Afghanistan right now. They don't know their way around. It's kind of nice to have that. Junior, what were you going to say?
Thanks for my answer.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Michael?
Also to find someone that's been lost.
Yeah, and they're a troop, right? A lot of times, you know, troops, they get separated from each other. And it's nice to have that so that they can keep an eye on that person, because maybe that person that's lost, they can't just go wandering somewhere and say, here I am, because, you know, they have to hide a lot of the times from the enemy. This is real life. Mackenzie? Yeah, like I don't know my way around this country. I'm in unknown territory. I need to get over to the next U.S. military base, right? So they use their, you know, navigation. All this is great. All this is awesome. Okay, a couple of things. Did you know that GPS, it was developed by the military at first. Only the military was allowed to use it. And a lot of times that's how things happen. But now it's more developed and they're just saying, hey, you know, this is a great tool. Everybody can use it. We talked about before it could be used for drivers like us. If I need to go to Eastgate Mall, I can just put my directions in, although I know how to get there. But if I didn't, it would tell me how to get there. Hunters. How do hunters use GPS? Sydney?
To track down the place where they're looking for animals.
So, like, how do they know where the animals are? You know what I mean? Like, you can't just be like, where are the animals? And like your GPS tells you. What do you think happens? Because you're right. But how do you think it happens? How do you think they go about finding the animals if they don't if they don't have a cell phone? You know what I mean?
They can search the animal online for what they're looking for.
Probably not. You are on the right track. Can anyone kind of help her, extend that a little bit? Faith?
I was gonna say they can see where they property.
Oh yeah, properties. There definitely are just certain areas that you can hunt in. Maybe it's different parks or different zones. So you can use the GPS just to make sure that you're in the right area. Okay. What do you think? Yeah. Never mind? Can anyone finish her thought though? Sydney, she was saying hunters can use it to track animals, but I was trying to say animals don't have cell phones for you to say, oh, they're located there. How can you find? Okay, now you got your thought?
Look for tracks on the ground and stuff.
You what?
Tracks on the ground, make footprints.
Tracks them down?
Tracks on the ground.
Oh, on the ground. Oh yeah, so that's definitely a different way. You can literally just look at the ground, find tracks, correct? Now that wouldn't be technology-wise, but it's back to good old-fashioned just hunting for it, right? And it can lead you to where you want to go, right? Because we're not just talking about GPS, we're talking about just finding different locations as well, and I like that. To go back on what Sydney was saying, sometimes hunters, if you're ever trying to find an endangered species, or the deer population, what they do sometimes is they catch these animals, they tag them. Have you ever heard of this? They tag them and then they put them back out in the wild. And these deer or these endangered species, they're wearing either a tag or something around their arm. You kind of see them at the zoo sometimes too. They've got little tags around their little paws or their little feet. But what they're doing is that is a GPS, some type of device that's letting them know where their location is. That way, if something is endangered, they can use it for population estimate, like how many exist nowadays, and if they can follow them if they want to, or again, they can just use it to see how many are out there, or they can use it for hunting. Someone told me earlier in another class, they'll find a deer when it's a baby, they'll tag it, and then they'll send it back out into the wild. And then a couple years later, when it's a buck, they go and find it. I've never heard of that, but I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Junior, you got something to say?
Did you know that whales also use a GPS like sonar? Whales also use.
I did not know that. What's the deal with that?
They use sonar to track other whales to see where their pod is.
Where their habitat is?
Or
okay.
In their case, singing.
Okay. Okay, well I'll have to, since I haven't really heard it, that's interesting. I'm gonna do some more research on that myself. That's cool. And again, a lot of different animals they can do that with, just to tag and see where they're at. Moving on though, I want us to think right now, okay? I want to talk about some challenges. Challenges could be problems, or challenges could just be some ideas in society. But I want to talk about challenges that are present in our society today that are related to tracking locations and finding different locations that it would impact society. I want you to think about your school. I want you to think about your city. I want you to think about the state, the country, and even the world. How could our big idea, which is tracking, locating, and investigating locations, how can that impact society? What we're going to do is I'm going to give you about 1 minute by yourself to think of some, brainstorm, if you will. That's going to be number 4 on your sheet. Okay, and then I'm going to let you talk to your group members at your table, and you're going to share ideas, and then we're going to share as a class. So if you have any trouble getting started, here's an example. I know that a challenge with today's society, if we're talking about the country, a problem that I see sometimes are missing children. Right? We're always looking for missing children. It's terrible. But with technology that we have today, it's very easy to try to at least set up a way to locate these children. A lot of the times we do. Sometimes we don't. It's unfortunate. Okay, but these are the type of challenges and problems I'm thinking about right now. So I'm going to put 1 minute on the timer, and I want you guys to think about society problems related to school, city, state, country, or world that has something to do with locating and tracking. Okay? Okay, so I'm sure you guys have had some great ideas here. Okay? I want you to talk with your groups now. I'm going to give you about 4 minutes to talk with each other. Okay? You need to share what are some of the challenges in today's society. Go. Putting me.
House arresting.
Yeah.
Chase King?
That's definitely. What, he has house arrest?
You didn't know that?
No. Right now?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is technically the only
You know
thing
him,
that's allowed to
don't
be
you?
out.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, some
So-
kid was messing with
So house arrest is a way to make sure that people that aren't supposed to be out and about are actually where they're supposed to be. Make sure you're including Junior in your conversations too, okay?
They're not.
Well, you also need to pay attention because you were looking over there at that moment. So make sure you're paying attention over here, okay?
Yeah, some kid tried to hit his mom, and he hit him with a baseball bat, and they put him on house arrest.
Wow. So house arrest is definitely a way that we can track different locations. Not that he's a criminal, but right now he is a juvenile that has done, created an offense that he's not supposed to do, right? So his punishment is he has to stay about. What happens if he moves outside of that location of his house?
Beep, 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 beep.
Right, and then that's going to alert the police. So that's a way that we can kind of keep track of our criminals. That's a really good one. Okay?
I was hurt. What do you have to go to the store and you're on house arrest?
You can't go. You're not allowed.
Can you starve and die?
What are you guys thinking over here? What's a good one you've come up with?
Oh, lost phones.
Yeah, and that's kind of like a school issue, right? Don't sometimes people steal each other's phones around here? I don't know why they would, but
That's
okay.
why you should never give your combination for your mom.
So what about the lost phone though? What is it? What happens? What does it do?
Well, I guess there's like a GPS tracking on your phone that tracks out another phone.
Yeah.
And then it tells you where your phone is located?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, you can
That's a
get
good
different apps.
idea.
I was also thinking of lost zoo animals.
It's a what?
Lost zoo animals.
Lost animals?
Like lost zoo.
Yeah, because all of those, that's a really good one. All of those animals are tracked, right? At least I think they are, but that would be a definite good way to make sure that you knew where they were. Absolutely. Randy, what'd you come up with?
Finding people, traveling to places to
Yeah, different places to visit. You can kind of navigate through. You can use Google Earth, right? If you wanted to see something ahead of time before you actually go there. That's a good one. What are you guys coming up with over here?
Finding missing animals, children,
Yeah.
finding cities and buildings, and
Yeah, if you're just trying to navigate to something, right? And
I'm fixing this one bothering me.
that's fine. I know Randy over there was saying that trying to look at a city before you visit it, to go on vacation, you could use Google Earth. Okay. I was hearing some really, really great conversations. Let's talk though. I want you guys to choose one out of all of yours that we're going to talk about in class here for just a second, okay? I'd love to hear everybody's, but let's just go ahead and first start with one because I want to make sure we have enough time to do everything, okay? So we're out of here at 10:07. Great, we have a lot of time. Table one, what was your number one that you thought was a great idea, or at least one of your great ideas?
We wrote down global warming.
Global warming?
I think you should have Destiny explain it really good.
Okay, Destiny, go ahead and explain it really loud. No, that's good. I want to hear it because I haven't heard this one yet. What do you think? Okay, I'm going to pause for a second because here's the thing. There are people in the back of the room that are talking and they're not listening. Okay, all eyes should be on Destiny because we're trying to have a group conversation, okay? I don't want to have to stop and have this conversation right now. Okay, so if you could be really loud though, Destiny, because they probably can't hear you. They didn't know you were talking, okay? Real loud.
When I track down animals that are in trouble in the northern parts, like, what's it called? Canada and all that stuff.
So somewhere up north. So her idea, if you didn't hear her, Junior, you focus, was to track different animals. Perhaps you were saying specifically polar bears, right? And you were talking about global warming and kind of just to see, are there a lack of polar bears out there because of the warming conditions? Anybody think of that? I know a couple of you said to locate animals. How many people thought of that in their groups? A couple different groups? Good. I think that's a fantastic idea. It's definitely impacting society. Absolutely. What about this table right here? What's your idea?
Losing phones.
What's that?
Losing phones.
Losing phones, right? What about losing phones
It's like an everyday thing.
here at school? So it's kind of like a school problem, right? So what's happening? Are people stealing your phones out of your locker, or you're just losing them? How many people have lost their phone here at school or anywhere? Okay. How many people have used a certain kind of app, tracking device, to find that phone? Did it work?
No. Yeah.
So yes, no. It's amazing if it did work. That's awesome. What about you? Has anyone ever gotten their phones stolen at school? Stolen in life? How about that? Wow. So having that app on the phone is kind of nice, right? How many people actually located their phone that was stolen because of a tracking device? So see, it worked out really great for you. So one of our school problems here that's affecting society is people losing their phones, because today's, age, that's all we're doing is checking our phones and using our phones for different things.
We had a good challenge to using the GPS that we use to find our phones.
What's that?
Wrong places.
What's that?
Like the GPS go taking you wrong places.
Yes. Yes. Do you know, she said the GPS taking you, Mackenzie? Jacob? The GPS taking you to the wrong spot. Now, that has happened to me before because I do drive. And I was just thinking, oh, you know what? It's actually down at UC because I don't really know where to go around there sometimes. I'm like, oh, the GPS will get me there. And I didn't even look ahead at the directions. Okay, somehow it was having me go down in Rob's neck of the woods. It was on the west side of town, and I wasn't even anywhere near the city. So I didn't even look at my phone. I just ended up in the wrong spot. So has that happened to you before, your parents? Your mom?
It's happened to me before in the cab.
In a cab?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was supposed to go to the dentist, and it took me down here by the school.
See, it happens all the time. What about you guys?
Car accidents.
What about car accidents?
What's that thing called?
Oh, the OnStar. Ooh, I'm gonna write that one down. I haven't heard that one today. Okay, have you guys heard of OnStar? Maybe you've seen the commercials for it. Basically, does someone in your family have it or something? You can, in the newer cars, you can call OnStar. Actually, your car talks to you and says, hey, I noticed that you have a flat tire. Do you want me to call somebody for you to come change your tire for you or whatever? And they send people because they know where you're located, okay? And then they send someone to fix you up. And there's other things too, like lock your keys in the car. But it's sensors, basically, that use different locations to try to figure it out. That's a good one. Nice. What do you guys think?
Hurricane Founder to find places to visit.
I like that, to find places to visit. We all, last week, we used Google Earth, right? Yeah. And we kind of flew over the different places. I took you to Paris. I took you to the Great Wall of China. I took you to the Great Pyramids, the Egyptian pyramids. I mean, we probably wouldn't get to go there, right, if we didn't have navigational tools like that. But I like what you're thinking, too. If you want to visit a place, maybe fly over it first using any kind of GPS and see what it looks like. Or you can just, get directions, right, if you actually are going to go there. Great job. What are you guys thinking? Yeah, you guys were talking about lost mountains and lost animals, right?
Zoo and animals.
Yes, I like that. In our zoo, to try to make sure that we know where our animals are located, just in case something escapes. I hope it wouldn't, but it might happen someday. They are tracked, okay? And them being tracked right there is awesome because we can track them down by using the different GPS signals to find out where they are. Good. What about you guys over here? You guys had a good one.
Our best one was the house arrest and blitz.
So different criminals, a form of punishment, instead of them being in jail, maybe they didn't do a crime that was, as severe as someone being in jail. House arrest. Anybody ever seen that before without telling a story? Okay. Basically what it is a GPS device around your ankle. And the court tells you, hey, you're in trouble. We're not putting you in jail, but we're making you stay in your house at all times. And people are like, I can leave my house if I want. No. This little device, it makes sure that you stay on your property, and if you leave, it will beep. So it's a way of locating where this criminal is, making sure they stay put, and if they leave the little perimeter of the house, then they'll get in trouble. Okay, the police will notify the police, and then now the police have been alerted, so that's another way of locating people. So you guys all had a lot of different ones that my first period had. My first period also talked about, they talked about tracking people. They also talked about how, like a search area for criminals, maybe not even using GPS, but perhaps like if you have somebody that robs a house and Israel, if somebody that robs a house, they go out and one of the people, the citizens, they say, I saw that person over by Kroger. So the police, they take a map and they mark Kroger. Oh, but I saw him over by McDonald's. They'll mark McDonald's. I saw him by the library, and they'll mark the library. So they have a search area, and they can look for this person in a search area. It's actually how they found the Boston bomber. Another thing that they were saying, we said dogs that are microchipped. They said, a lot of people are saying like the military enemies. Junior, I need you to quit talking, please. A lot of times when people talk and we're having good conversation, it throws us off track. Okay, so I need to focus so I can talk, and you need to focus so you can listen. Military, we talked about that earlier, finding the enemies. House arrest, that was something I had never heard someone bring up. But, this one was brought up. Say you go into a jewelry store and there's a criminal and they rob the jewelry store. They take the most expensive diamond that there is. Guess what? That expensive diamond probably has a tracker on it. They steal it, they drive off. They can drive 1,000 miles away. That piece of jewelry is on somebody's location screen, so they know where that's at. So don't be there doing that. So yeah. Oh, and another one person said the weather. I think that's a good one with society. We're always, how many people, if you have an event, you're trying to look up what the weather is looking like? Yeah, radar, people. Radar is something that, we always try to track the location of hurricanes, of storms, of what type of heat it's going to be today. These are things that are impacting our society, okay? I think we had one for school, city, state, country. I think the world one, we did talk about the military. I think it's really important that we understand that, we're working together as a world, when we're in the, well, I guess not if we're in war, but things like research for space research. We're going to different planets. We're visiting the moon. We've got these satellites out there in space, okay? These are world societal impacts happening for everybody. Okay, now that I got you talking, it's time to talk about our project. So we are going to be doing a project next week, and I want you guys to have some input as to what it's going to be. You guys are going to help me come up with the project, and we're going to do that by the conversations we're going to have, okay? We've learned about transformations. We've learned about coordinate grids. We've related them to GPSs and how GPSs work to track things down, okay? So now that you know that, I want you to think about what type of project would you want to do having all of those factors in the project. We're going to think of some things called essential questions, okay? We're going to explore those essential questions and create a challenge. A challenge is also called a project, but a challenge means something that we can do to find more answers about. So think of a question. you'd like to know more answers about, that we could find those answers by doing a research project. Okay? We could explore something. So for example, the other day, when I was coming up with a project for you guys, I said, one of the questions I thought of was, can we use our smartphones to find latitude and longitude? So I looked it up, I researched, and I said, yes, we can. There's this little X note activity. And then I had you guys out there searching for, what was your definitions for your vocab. Okay, but it was still navigating and find latitude and longitude. When I was getting ready for some of your activities last week when we were outside, I had to check that weather station every day just to make sure it wasn't going to rain. Little did I know, I really had to worry about the heat. Remember how hot it was? Wow. So that's a great one. Definitely the weather can definitely impact our society. Absolutely. What about you guys? What did you guys come up with?
We were talking about what Brittany was saying, and how you would track them and then try to figure out what they were.
Figure out where they were?
Yeah.
Let's even go a step further. And I think that Kevin and I were talking about this. What if somebody was being, or what if you had a robber and he robbed a place, a criminal, and he robbed a jewelry store and he got an expensive piece of jewelry, okay? A lot of times, now that we've learned about transformations, we've learned about coordinate grids, and we've related to them to how GPS works, what type of project do you guys want to do? So keep thinking about this. So let's think of some essential questions. We're going to call them essential questions that we could explore by creating a challenge. Okay? Something that you would like to learn more about, but you have to keep these ideas in mind. You have to keep your GPS ideas in mind, your latitude, longitude, and then your math concepts, coordinate grids, and transformations. So everything we've learned for the last 2 weeks, keep that in mind. So for example, one of the questions I had the other day was, can we use our smartphones to find latitudes and longitudes? So I made an activity to try to find out the answer. That was that X note activity when we did the virtual geocache. Okay? So, keeping the big idea in mind, you guys need to brainstorm 5 ideas, okay, that we could explore using our GPS or finding locations, that's our big idea, and the math concept, transformations, and think about coordinate grids. Because we're running low on time, I'm going to give you 1 minute for you to come up with a question, or 2 or 3. And by the way, you can put them on number 2. That should have been down there. Number 2, go ahead and write out any questions that you would like to know answers to that we could explore and make a challenge or project out of. Okay? So go ahead, I'm going to put some time on the clock. Here's what I want you to do. Because we're running out of time, do you guys see where it says submit essential question here? I want you guys to talk as a table and go ahead and write down, type out some ideas. So instead of group members' names, I'm going to say table number. So go ahead and click on that, and then you should see this right here. So I'll say table number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Go ahead and type out at least one essential question that you think would make a good project idea, okay? And do that within 2 minutes, okay? Again, star the one on your paper that you think makes a really good essential question that we could do a project out of. And what I'm going to do this weekend, are you listening? This weekend, I am going to kind of compile all your questions, and I'm going to come up with a challenge that hopefully you think is fun and something we can investigate and explore, and maybe find out some of these answers to why tracking and locating. A chance to do some conversations. But what I need you guys to do, make sure you're on the question, the essential question, and then if you could click that link here. Make sure that it's refreshed because I changed the link. click on that link, and then I'd like for you guys to enter your ideas. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather all your ideas, and this weekend I'm going to just see if there's any, wait, I'm not done talking yet. See if there's any ideas that are kind of the same and pull ideas together, okay? And then I will make up a challenge for you guys in a project, and I'll introduce what it is on Monday. It's going to be pretty exciting, okay? So take like 3 minutes. You can put 2 in there if you want. You can put 3 in there if you want. I don't mind. But put your question in that discussion board.
No, don't
Is
put
that
mine.
specific enough to where you'll know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Okay? And make sure that it gets in there so that I can have access to it.
Where is that?
That's scary. I don't like that.
What?
You can see it.
Well, that's so we can all see it, you know, as a class. It's not scary. It's not scary. Hey guys, I don't care if you put 3, 4, or 5 in there if it's a good idea. If you want your voice heard, because that's what I'm going to look at, and if you don't put it on there, I won't know. You've already submitted. Please star 1 or 2 or 3. Junior, you're not listening because you're not going to put that paper away. Please star 1, 2, or 3 questions that you have that you think would make good project ideas that we could start our project on Monday. Now remember, I'm going to walk in here on Monday. The project we're going to do is going to have something to do with what you guys have said, okay? So make sure that you make it good so that you enjoy doing it. Make sure it's something that interests you. When you think that you have done that and you're ready to turn it in, put it in the center of your table.
The only mine on here is
What was your favorite one over here?
My favorite one was the one where she wrote it down and it said, how can GPS find your car
Ah.
if it was lost in a parking lot?
Yeah, you know what I do when that happens? I put on my panic button so I can hear my car getting beeping. All right, you guys ready to turn these in? You have it starred?
Yes,
Is that how you spell cereal?
Yep. Are you guys ready to turn yours in? Did you star the ones that you wanted me to look at? Okay.
I only had one
Thank you.
put it in the pot.
All right, so let's have a seat and let's reflect for a second. So, the engineering design process. Okay, before we can start doing that, you know when we did the engineering design process on, I think it was day 2 of school, we did that string and ring activity, and then we went through the different processes. Okay, this is the brainstorming process. First, we're going to help each other, you know, brainstorm some possible ideas. Okay, and then I'm going to go home. I'm going to plan out what it is. I'm going to use some of your ideas here. For example, will GPS help us find our cars? Will GPS help us find iPhones? Would GPS help find our cars? How do we find exact locations? I like that one. Can we find missing pets? What can happen after you track something? How do you find something that's lost? Which is the best graph for us to use for geocaching or tracking everything? You know, different ideas like this. So I'm going to calculate everything and I'm going to come up with a challenge. And this is called challenge-based learning. So that means that you guys as a class came up with a challenge. I didn't as your teacher. Okay, I'm just putting it together for you. All right? So I hope it's something good, and then I'll let you know. And actually, though, I'm going to also ask the other classes, too. So out of all the classes, we'll kind of figure out what it is that we want to do. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions about anything before, or anything you want to say before I go home and make this project?
Can it be easy?
Can it be easy? Can it be outside?
Yeah, can it be outside?
Okay. All right, I'll take that into consideration. Because, I mean, we have been geocaching, so maybe I can make it something with geocaching. I like it. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you later. Be paper clipped in your folder in front of the checklist. Okay? Then, here's what I need you to do. I need you to get a color copy. Maybe you already have it. Maybe I already said this yesterday. I want you to get a color copy set up for the next group. Put your starting triangle on there. Okay? Can you guys do that? Everybody has at least one extra one of these. So take this, put your starting triangle on it. Underneath there, will you please put your directions? Every single person's in your group's your directions. Will you please make sure they match up, that everybody says the same thing? Because we were having trouble in the last group that they didn't say exactly the same thing on all 3 directions, okay? So that needs to, I'm going to give you guys a paper clip. That needs to be paper clip behind here. You need to get an envelope from me. You're going to put your name and your group number, which is that number up there on top of your table. And make sure you also fill out this answer key. I gave it to you yesterday. A lot of you were almost done filling that out. It looked like this. Okay? So for 10 minutes, I'm going to let you get yourselves organized. When you think that you're ready, put your hand down for 1 sec. When you think that you're ready, you get to go hide your clue. I'm going to come over, look at everything, and then that will be that. You can go hide your clue out on the schoolyard. Okay? Questions? Yeah, we'll talk in just a second, okay? Question. Right, so what's going to happen, since you guys are ready, you guys are going to be the ones that get to go, you get to start right away, okay? So let me get your stuff back out. Everybody else, I'm going to start the clock right now for 10 minutes. Please, don't goof around. Don't.
Oh, okay. I feel special. Okay. So, we're walking down the hallway. We are gonna put our destination in the front of the school. What's up, guys? Hi. So, I'm special. I see my friends over there at the locker. Hey, it's Trey. What is that? I am the president. What is that? It's a mic. A microphone. I was talking to my friends. Sorry about that. I am the king of this place. Okay. So, where's our destination at? In the front of the school, right? Yeah. Are y'all gonna talk? Or?
Yes, it's in front of the school.
Okay. Yeah. I see a teacher walking down the sidewalk. I see a trash can. Yeah. And a water fountain, too. There's the gymnasium right there. That's where I work out. I go to the middle school of Goshen. I am exiting the doors right now. We are at the front of the school. I see a trash can, 2 of them maybe. So I'm going to put the destination right here. Right there. Maybe they'll find it. Maybe, but you never know.
Wait, where is it on the bench? Are you sure it's here?
I'm sure it's here. Yeah.
Put it on the bench.
I don't like the bench.
Yeah, just put it right there.
That's gonna fly away.
No, it's not.
Oh, yeah, there. Get off my destination.
Put it like that.
I am the king. Don't touch my stuff.
Okay, Barack Obama.
My name is Barack Obama, and I have approved this message. Do I turn this off now?
It's
You're just using your own brain to kind of concentrate, okay? What I need from you is 10 minutes, okay? It is now like 11:10-ish, okay? We give you 10 minutes, no talking to your group members, just all for yourself. I want you to get the directions out. You'll probably have to share, like put one in between like two of you, okay? See if you can decode the map to try to figure out where they have hidden the president, okay? Someone needs to, oh, and I haven't passed this out yet, kind of use this to kind of keep a list of where things are, because in case you mess up, you have a reference to go back to. And I'm going to grade this so I can see if you got all their points right. This will make it easier for me to grade. So someone needs to be in charge of that. Maybe the person that gets the furthest, okay? So after 10 minutes, I will say time, and then you guys can all talk together. And then the benefit of everybody doing one of these is so that in case someone messes up, that you can check with each other, okay? So let's see if you're able to find the president, okay? All right, good luck. 10 minutes. I'll set my timer here. No talking. Okay, so you see how I like just retraced it? The thought is that, see how it's smeared right there? And that way, you really don't even have to pick up your pencil, okay? You shouldn't be talking. Okay, so we're done with that. Okay, now what does it say to do?
Reflect over the x-axis.
Okay, so you see that little marker I put there? That's a point of reference. When you reflect over the x-axis, what does that mean? What does reflect mean?
You flip it.
Flip it. Okay, which way is the x? Or which line is the x?
This one.
This is the y. That's the x, okay? So if you're gonna flip over the x, you flip it towards you. So go ahead and flip the paper towards you. Just flip it over. And then you line that back up, good. And then what does it say to do? And then reflect over the y. So do it over the y now. Great. Now take your pencil, trace it again, because remember, it's gonna smear on there, and then you're done with that. And go on to the next one. Does that seem easy? Well, the beginning, when we were doing a little bit of, I was teaching them what GPS receivers were, how they can be used in everyday life. They were so excited. I was very pleased with how excited they were. They hadn't seen Google Earth, and to show them something they could use, you know, to go visit places they had never seen before, like the Great Pyramids. I thought that was amazing. I also really felt like I nailed the CBL this time, the challenge-based learning intro, to get them involved with, you know, how this affects our society. I think it was locating, finding different locations. I think by having how that affects the society, having that discussion really got them into the unit, and then having them come up with what the project could be. They just really, I think that this lesson wouldn't have been as successful without it. So I felt like they took a lot of ownership of coming up with the lesson itself.
Great, yeah.
So.
Maybe what you learned from it, and just maybe if you could stand in the middle so everybody can hear, or close by, and just anybody that wants to talk about it. What did you think of the unit? Did you learn some new things? Was this a good way to learn? Anything you want to talk about, and also what things didn't you learn?
Well, first of all, it was kind of hard and it was confusing, so I learned to dilate. I didn't know how to dilate before, so I've learned to dilate.
I learned rotation, like around the points.
Yeah, we had a bit of confusion with that. We had a bit of confusion with rotating on the points.
Dilation.
Overall, it was beneficial.
Okay, why was it beneficial?
You learn some new things of how to find the president, which was kind of fun to do with your group, and then it helped you like learn dilation, rotation, and translation a lot better.
Reflection.
Yeah.
How to work together.
Yeah.
Okay, say more about how to work together.
It could be difficult sometimes, but other times you just gotta work through it.
I mean, how do you like doing this kind of way of learning versus maybe what you've done most of the time in the classroom?
It's a lot better.
Yeah.
More
Helps.
hands-on than
Helps me.
paper and pencil.
I feel like we learn more by socializing, like not really socializing, but communicating like the problems, and this helps you learn a lot more. What other people think about the problems.
Good. Anything else? Okay, thank you all very much.